Good morning everybody, and welcome back to a brand new video. Now just a couple weeks ago, a really interesting update was put into the game, and that was a free-to-play update below Ice Mountain. Now this area is targeted at low-level free-to-play players, and is an area that has a lot of interesting new gameplay loops, mechanics, and just visually it looks very cool. Now I have tested this place out a bit on my main account, however I thought it would be a little more pertinent, more accurate, and more authentic to try it out on a brand new free-to-play Ironman specifically. So essentially the goal for this video is to start on a fresh free-to-play Ironman, immediately rush to below Ice Mountain, and then go through the content until we finally can unlock the Barronite Mace. Anyway guys, I think this is going to be a lot of fun. As always, if you do enjoy it, always appreciate a like in the video, always helps out. Anyway guys, let's get started. Now there's actually only one requirement for the Below Ice Mountain quest, and that is 16 quest points, which we're going to go ahead and do that pretty soon. However, there are a few soft requirements for skills. For example, we do need 7 fishing to be able to fish the lowest level fish in the area. Without that, we're going to be dead in the water pretty well. Now the other skill requirement we need is for mining. 15 mining is a requirement to be able to mine the Barronite deposits, which are extremely important. So next up here, we're going to quick fire through a few quests. We do need 16 quest points, and luckily there are some really easy quests to do in free-to-play. So we got 5 from Romeo and Juliet. We're also going to do the Dorix quest here as well for an easy quest point. Another really easy one is Goblin Diplomacy. That one also gives you 5 quest points, I think. Another quick quest to do in free-to-play is Ernest the Chicken, which will give you 4 quest points, and just like that, we're already up to 15. Only 1 more is required. And finally here I decided on Cook's Assistant, a pretty easy one to get done as well. And there we go, just like that we are already at 16 quest points. So just like that we can go ahead and start the quest. There's only one other requirement I need to get out of the way eventually, and that is 15 smithing. Now when I was originally planning this out, I didn't actually realize that you could complete the quest as a skiller. I thought I would have to kill it perhaps with magic, hit and run, or maybe you'd have to train up a bit before killing the final boss. However, there is a way for you to do it just by mining 4 separate pillars in the corner of the room where the boss fight happens. No combat required, you just have to be able to tank. Now I guess the real question here is, are shrimp good enough to be able to tank this boss? I didn't actually look up what the max hit was, but I do think if we're careful enough we should be fine. Okay, I think we're gonna be done with this no problem, pretty easy. Okay, try number 2. Apparently the max hit actually is a 7, which is unfortunately the exact health I was staying on last time, but there we go, we did it on our second try. One of my favorite updates of the last year is that you no longer lose your items when you're in an instanced quest, which is truly amazing. But there we go guys, we are done with Below Ice Mountain. 2,000 coins, that actually may be helpful. Okay, and the final requirement I had to get out of the way, and by far the most time consuming, was actually 15 smithing. Now you do need 15 smithing to be able to break down the Barronite deposits, which is going to be extremely important for actually finishing the Barronite Mace, otherwise we won't be able to get the last piece. And with that all done, we have all of the important requirements out of the way, so let's head on over to the Ice Mountain. Okay, so in the ruins of Camdozzal, there are quite a few unique mechanics here. Now our end goal here is to get the new Barronite Mace, and to get that we need to get 3 pieces of it. Now you can get these pieces either by mining, fishing, or by killing the new golems down here. So to start things off here, we're going to start with mining. Now mining is very simple. Essentially come over here to the Barronite deposits and then start mining them with your pickaxe. It's kind of similar to Motherlode Mine except for free to play. Now we're starting with mining because by far it is the quickest way to obtain Barronite shards. Now one of the unique mechanics here is that you can spend Barronite shards to unlock area of effect buffs within the ruins of Camdozzal. Now to unlock the area of effect buffs, we need to actually buy them with Barronite shards, and by far the quickest way to get those is from mining. And that is essentially why we're starting with mining. So right now we're getting around 4.4 thousand mining experience per hour, which is quite low. I mean, you do have to keep in mind this is very AFK, but I mean compared to mining iron or something, it is substantially slower, but at low levels it's not a big deal. Alright, so we're already up to level 31 mining, which means we can switch over to our adamant pickaxe, and on top of that we actually I think have enough now to afford our very first area of effect buff. To unlock one of these buffs took me a little bit over an hour. Okay, so we're going to go with the mining one first because we do have a fair bit more mining to do, and by unlocking this we do have a permanent 5% buff to our chance of mining Barronite shards, which is going to help us for the foreseeable future. So far no luck on the Barronite head. The only thing we've gotten so far is an ancient carcanet, whatever the hell that is. Okay, so just over another hour later, and we can now afford another area of effect boost, and I think we're going to go for the fishing boost next. I plan to do some of the new fishing content pretty soon, and obviously do want the quickest catch rate possible. So there is only really one other thing I want to unlock before trying out the fishing content, or even the golem content for that matter, and that is we want to unlock the higher chance of getting a rare item, which I think will be pretty important for everything. There we go guys, we just now have over 3,000 Barronite shards, which means we can now unlock the luck area of effect buff for 3,000, which means that we pretty much have everything we need to move on to the other content. Well, I guess that is everything except for the Barronite head, which is important, and well, hopefully we get that soon now with the new buff. Well, there we go guys, not only did we just get 24 smithing, which is decent, we actually did finally get the Barronite head in this inventory. That took me around 3 or 4 hours to get in total, so I'm kind of curious to see how the other parts of the Barronite Mace compare. Okay, so just going for the Barronite head meant that we actually got pretty close to level 41 mining, which means we now have unlocked the highest level pickaxe for free to play. Now we also ended up getting to 24 smithing, but I gotta say the smithing experience per hour is quite low at only around 1,000. Alright guys, we are finally done with mining for now anyway. We are going to unlock the final buff here, and that is going to be the preparation buff, which gives a permanent 10% buff to our chance at preparing fish, which will just really help speed things up when we go do the fishing content, which I think we're going to go do right now. Alright, so we're going to start off our little fishing grind here. Now we are starting right from level 7, which means the only thing we can fish right now is the guppy. We're starting exactly at the level Jagex intended. Whether or not this is going to be even comparable to shrimp, I'm not sure. Oh wow, okay, that was way quicker than the Barronite head. We got the Barronite handle on our second inventory, I think. We actually only ended up getting 1 fishing level, so I'm not sure if we got lucky on that or if it's just a lot more common. I was going to say we'll do this until we get the Barronite handle, but apparently we need to go a bit further because, well, we haven't really tested it at all yet. Right now, at level 7, we are getting around 1,200 fishing experience per hour. Keep in mind, fishing is incredibly slow pre-level 20, and we are going to be getting a bit of cooking and prayer experience as well. Now it's pretty simple. Once you have a full inventory of fish, you just come over here a little bit to the south to this preparation table. Now first up here we have to prepare the guppies, which we are doing a terrible job at. Oh my god. At a very low cooking level, we are ruining a lot of guppies. That is just a darn shame. Now the only requirement here is fishing, which means you can do this I think from level 1, cooking and prayer. However, it is of course going to be gated by how quickly you can actually fish the fish, which right now is incredibly slow. Alright, so we have been fishing guppies for a while now, all the way to level 20 fishing, which means we now have a chance of catching the cave fish. Our XP per hour is still incredibly low, only a couple thousand experience per hour, and we've actually gotten a ridiculous amount of Barronite handles, so they are by far way more common than at least the Barronite head was. Like, I think we have like 10 of them or something now, like we're just getting them all the time. So going to level 20 fishing, we also got level 22 cooking, as well as level 11 prayer. So it's not nothing, and I have noted a very serious improvement as we get into even the 20s for cooking. So look at this guys, we have 11 Barronite handles just from getting level 20 fishing. That seems really strange to me. I'm not sure why the drop rate is so different, and there's no way I got that lucky. If I got just that lucky, I'm gonna cry maybe. Now, the final piece of the puzzle here is going to be the Barronite Guard. Now, you get that from killing the new golems in the Below Ice Mountain area. Unfortunately, I don't think you could realistically kill them from combat level 3, so we're going to go train up a little bit on cows outside of the dungeon. Now, the golems aren't particularly strong, however, they actually do have defensive stats, and they are weak to crush. Hopefully that will be enough to take on the flawed golem, which is the weakest. Unfortunately, it doesn't drop any of the golem cores, but I guess that's the way it goes. Alright, so we are definitely able to kill the flawed golems right now, but we are burning through wines pretty quickly. So unfortunately, at very low levels, I don't really think it's going to be at all worth killing these golems. If ever competitive, it will probably be maybe in the 50s or 60s for combat. But because you do have to like bop them awake every time, the XP per hour is definitely going to be impacted. And because we are actually tanking quite a bit of damage, I've decided it's probably a good idea to maybe unlock the final buff here, which is the defense buff, which will give me a bit of extra defensive stats versus the golems, which I think I'm going to need because all I have is a steel plate body and some weird Ironman gear. Okay, so just a while later, and we have now unlocked the final buff. They have made a few changes to mining. At the level I'm at for mining, we're actually getting around 9.6k mining experience per hour, which is decent enough, I think. Oh, there it is, guys. We got the Barronite Guard. I do think we got a little bit lucky on that. We got it probably within our first 50 golems. I think it is one of these slower ones to obtain. So that's it, guys. That means we have the final piece of the puzzle, which means we can now assemble the Barronite Mace. Oh, wait. Not quite done yet. We do actually need to get a bit more Barronite shards to make it, but essentially we are done. Now, one thing I actually just realized a few minutes ago is that apparently the Barronite handle or the Barronite pieces, for example, have an alch value of like 5k. So if that is actually true, then I think the fishing training method may actually be decent money per hour, although in a very weird roundabout way. Anyway, that's just a side tangent here. After combining the 1500 Barronite shards, we now have the Barronite Mace, which unfortunately we can't equip right now. We do have to get a few more attack levels, but I do expect we will get that pretty soon. And actually, we're only missing one item from the collection log, and that is the Ancient Ledger, I think. Maybe we will get that eventually. Okay, I missed it, but there is level 40 attack. Killing the golems with a Mithril Scimitar, we're getting around 11.5k per hour. Not horrendous, of course, but I'm not nearly as good as I think even killing cows. Now, in 516 kills of the Flawed Golem, we actually ended up getting 2 of the Barronite handles, and that probably took me 3 or 4 hours to kill all those golems. So definitely quite a bit slower than getting some of the other pieces, but we got it done. So finally, after multiple hours, we can now wield the Barronite Mace, which it looks pretty damn cool. Now, it is a crush attack style only weapon, which is pretty unique for free-to-play, but it is actually still fairly inferior to the Rune Scimitar. So at the level I'm at right now, I think the Barronite Mace actually only gives me a +1 max hit. However, it does have a Golem Bane effect, which means it should be doing extra damage to golems. So this weapon is definitely not like a game changer at this level, but it is a nice upgrade, and I am glad that we finally have it. So anyway, guys, that is, I guess, it. I mean, we have the Barronite Mace, we have the requirement to equip it. We've done most of the content in here. So what are my thoughts on the gameplay loop, the XP rates, just how fun it is, and just generally the camdozzal dungeon overall? Well, first up here, I have to say it is fun. I mean, the experience rates I think are still underwhelming, even for free-to-play content. Honestly, the only training method here that is even kind of decent, I think, is the mining training method. The fishing method is just incredibly slow, although again, it does have a niche use perhaps for free-to-play Ironman specifically, but I thought when Ironman mode came out, we weren't specifically balancing content around it. With that said though, the content is fun, and that is more important really for new players than having competitive experience rates. I do like the idea of unlocking area of effect buffs, training multiple skills at once, and just the general way that I unlocked more of the dungeon, got slightly better experience rates, was actually pretty damn fun. Now, as far as some critiques I have for the dungeon, first up, why are the Barronite handles that common? I mean, I got it on the first inventory, I then got the second and third one just a few minutes later. It doesn't really make any sense. One of the driving factors here is unlocking the new weapon, and if you just immediately get it, the only reason I kept fishing is just because I was making a video, otherwise I probably wouldn't have done it. Another issue I see is that the only realistic way to get Barronite shards is from mining. I kind of thought the shard currency was just going to be something that you would just passively get up by doing all of the different content in the dungeon, not just kind of a direct training method for mining. So in the end, I hardly got any Barronite shards from fishing and from killing the golems, which means I couldn't even afford to open the vault once after unlocking the Barronite Mace. So I think definitely the Barronite handle should have its drop chance reduced, and I think the amount of Barronite shards you get from fishing and from killing the golems should be increased. Now, I have looted the vault on my main account a few times, and it is definitely lackluster. I definitely think it could be a bit stronger, but in the end, it was just meant to be a bonus anyway. So we are finishing the account with around 40 mining, 40 combat, 23 fishing, 24 cooking, and 13 prayer, for a total level of 276. Now, before I go here, I'm going to give a massive thank you to all of my members over on YouTube. A huge thank you to Brian Robinson, Cappy, Colin Corley, Timothy Chen, Guy Fox, Valhalla Lad, Ocelot, and Kush Patel for all being subscribed at the Dragon tier of YouTube membership. And just a big shout out to Ocelot and Kush Patel for 8 months now. Thank you guys so much. Also, big thank you to Clack Clack, Need More Pills, Branton Griffin, All Things Gaming, Birdbot, and Base Titch for subscribing at the Barronite tier. You guys are awesome. As always, if you guys are looking for another way to support the channel, becoming a YouTube member is an awesome way to do so. You will get immortalized in all of my future videos, get access to my video release schedule, and of course get a custom role in my Discord server. Thanks again guys, and I'll see you next time.